answered. He was a bit like Airmoff, James Bond. Said, "Come with me, Dad," and got out a plethora of different...
It was depending what calibre you wanted. It's just ridiculous. The thing is, in the head, he doesn't actually think that they're toy weapons.
No.
He just feels that if
where is your blunderbuss?
House, come to Noah, because he has everything. Cutlery, so
your blunderbuss is here. I was wondering where your blunderbuss was.
And the cutlass he managed to
muscle up the gem. Yes.
So,
and a hook.
And a hook. You can't really, that's not going to work.
Can't really do. You could do.
We're live anyway.
Yeah.
Are we live? Yes, we are.
Yeah, I'm going to go live on Insta. You can chat to the peeps.
I can't really chat because Jen's got all the microphones.
Sorry, hang on then.
It's like our marriage, you see. I make very little noise. I don't really have a mouthpiece or a microphone to express myself.
It's probably good that you can't get near a microphone now.
Can't even hear me.
Come on, what's wrong with you?
It might be that I'm plugged in, but I don't think it is. I want a bit of pluggage.
Oh, it's right, isn't it?
I know we do want a bit of pluggage. I want a pluggage then.
Going live. It's very dull today, isn't it? I was expecting, you saying barbecue later, I was expecting sunshine.
I'm in a terrible optimism.
Alrighty folkies, welcome into Flex. We're just going to do a bit of a throwback Flex today. We're going to go to Flex 3. If you joined me yesterday for Flex in the morning, apologies. Something to do with Chris was controlling the session from at home, and as he shut his computer, it switched off the sound of the one in the studio which does all the recording. So very random, but Flex 3 I did yesterday morning, so you might have seen me but not heard me yesterday. So we're going to go for that one again because it's very enjoyable, very enjoyable. What else we got to say to the masses? If you weren't doing power, we are looking at doing some yoga outside. Next week looks glorious, so we thought we might do a few sessions. We're also wanting to do more classes when we're allowed to get large group gatherings at venues around the city in our green spaces. I thought that might be a bit of fun. We're working on loads at the moment. I'm busier now, or we're busier now than we've ever been. It's a bit bonkers. We're looking at doing some, I've only got 40 seconds, better speed up. Some little mini modules, if you like, 10-minute blasts of certain things, focusing on different things, so you can stack them together like a jigsaw and make your own sequences. All right, something like that, anyway. Arr, yes. My mum just sent me a message to is to be human, but to R is to pirates. So there you go, Mum, little shout out for you. But yeah, why are we dressed as pirates? Same as ever, really. No actual reason. Cost. What on earth is that? He's got his parrot, it's a kookaburra. Brilliant, love it. Right, folks, we've got 10 seconds. So we are starting. Are we front or back today? We're front. We're starting in child's pose. So feel free to come on down onto your mat. Chris, do you want to mute the Zoomers? Morning, everybody at home.
That was good. Okay.
Oh, he's off. Good morning, one and all. Welcome to Flex 3 with sound today, rather than without sound. If you joined me yesterday, you will notice that we have la 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 sound. So we're going to repeat that little flex flow for you. Loads of fun in here, culminating in our jazzy wildcard. Today is going to be peacock. So we're going to warm up those wrists nicely and get ourselves flowing. So whatever's happening in your life at the moment, whether you've got decisions on children going back to school, or you've got work decisions, or health decisions, all sorts going on, just breathe. Here we go. Taking the hands down in front of you, slide the fingertips towards the front edge of your mat. If you can get the bottom towards the heels, that's ace. Don't worry if it doesn't, you can always lob a cushion in between. Bringing the head down towards the mat, resting the forehead and sliding those shoulder blades down the back. So you can be really passive in your child's pose, or you can make it a little bit active by pressing into the fingertips and almost pulling, like you're trying to scrape your nails down a blackboard, pulling the fingers towards the back end of your mat. So really working into the shoulders there. Very nice little stretch if you do a lot of desk work. So just focusing on your breath. As I just said, don't worry too much about what else is going on. The important thing is you're here, you're on your mat, you're ready to rock. And when you're flowing through your flex session, you're not going to be able to think about too much else. So you'll feel wonderful afterwards. So give yourself a couple more breaths. Suck in that good stuff, whatever it is that you need on the inhale. Just letting the breath honour how you're feeling at the moment, and then release on the exhale, getting rid of any old gubbins, that's a good pirate word, isn't it, gubbins, that you want to release. 2 more breaths here, inhale, and maybe a little R on the way out. 1 more inhale. That sounds like a dying cat or something, Chris. Alright, and a little release there. Well done. Press on up into the hands, finding your way into table. Walk those hands back underneath the shoulders and knees underneath the hips. From here, we're going to have a little tilt of the pelvis and a flow through the spine. So as you lift up the sit bones, drop the belly down. This will allow you to open up through the chest, across the front of the shoulders on that breath in. And then as you exhale, using the pelvis again, tucking that imaginary tail between the legs, rippling and rolling, nice and slow. Taking as much press through the fingertips as you can and an arch through the spine as you can. A little squeeze of the belly. So don't go too fast, just to start off with. Close those eyes and let yourself go nice and slow through this little flow between cat and cow. This is your first sort of exercise of the day or movement of the day. You can speed it up if you like, but just find a comfortable pace for you. Just starting to move through the spine, starting to flow. If you want to make the movements a little bit bigger, you can take the hips down to the heels on the exhale, and then inhale, scoop the chest forwards a little bit more, finding a bit more movement. As you come through and lift the chest, it's a bit like upward dog, facing dog. You want to squeeze the upper arms together, press into the outside edges of the hands. All right, well done. Taking yourself back to tabletop here. Let's take a little stretch out. Chris looks like he's enjoying himself there. So let's all do the same. Take the hands out in front and start to have a little flow through the hips. This is good for warming up the wrists as well as into the hips as well. So you can move around. I always get the giggles on this now because that other session we did the other day, Chris said I said we could draw letters or draw your initials instead of circles, and Chris sort of mentioned that he was writing his name with his genitalia, which always makes me chuckle now when we do this, I have to say. So a little bit of free movements. You can draw what you like with what you like, and then finding your way back to your central tabletop pose. Let's get a down dog on the go. Fingertips facing forwards if you can. Again, pressing down through the knuckles rather than the heels of the hands. Lift up the sit bones, lift up the heels. Take lots of knee bend through your dog. Try to keep the feet about hip distance apart and the feet shoulder width apart. Drop the head down nice and heavy towards the floor. Slide the shoulder blades away up towards the base of your spine. Still got loads of knee bend in the legs here. And then we're going to start to press down through the right heel. Keeping the left leg bent, then bring the right leg to bent and stretch out through the left leg. So you can pause here, you can feel that stretch through the Achilles, through the hammies, through the calf. Keep alternating sides. Nice, slow little pedal out for 3, 2, and 1. Good stuff. Take a look towards the thumbs and just gently, see if you can keep the legs quite straight here. Take little steps all the way towards your thumbs. So you really walk the plank, he says. Walk the plank. Inhale. Fingers can stay down on the ground if you're quite flexible through the legs. So you might want to take the hands to the shins a bit easier. But try to focus on that length through the spine, a nice flat back position. So really squeezing in the belly. And then when you're ready to flow down into your forward fold, just let the head hang. Maybe try moving the weight around in the feet a little bit, rocking forwards, backwards, side to side. Nice deep breath in. So using gravity to assist us here in this stretch, letting the weight of the upper body extend through the lower body. And then starting to roll up through the spine. Inhale, reach up tall. Stretching out, lifting tall, fingertips reaching to the sky, maybe bringing the palms in to face each other, and then taking the gaze down in front, keeping the hands lifted, just turning the palms out the other way, and then back to face each other, and then to the outside of the mat, so just rotating through the shoulders, and then start to think about the wrists, so just rolling round through the right wrist, rolling round through the left wrist, rolling round through both wrists at the same time. Nice work. Inhale, sweeping up together, maybe a little back bend, And then bring your hands down through heart center. Lots of knee bend still if you need it. Taking the hands to the floor. Pressing back into your high plank. Well done. Take the heels back a little bit. Press out and feel that strength through the legs. Move the weight forwards. Engage the quads. Squeeze in the elbows. Lower down into your low plank. Inhale. Lift up through the chest. Work your way into upward facing dog. Shoulders away from the ears. So you can't see with these baggy pants, but you might have the knees down. You might want to squeeze and lift the knees off the ground. Exhale your way back to your dog. Well done. Let's have a three-legged dog just to warm up a little bit more into the glutes and lower back. So press down with the left heel. Inhale, sweep up high with your right leg. Try to extend the leg if you can. You can have the foot flexed or you can point the toes. It's entirely your choice. But see if you can bring the hips to face the floor rather than opening out like you would in a scorpion pose. Good stuff. Have a little circle around through your right ankle here as it's lifted. One way, then the other. So still trying to release those shoulder blades down the back. And then pop the right foot down. Let's go on the other side. Inhale, lift up with the left leg again, either pointing or flexing the toes. See if you can press the right heel, the grounded foot, down to the floor as you rotate a little bit. Now come on, honestly, who's wiggling their tongue around in their mouth as well as you rotate the ankle? Perfect, well done. Pop that foot down. Inhale, roll the weight forward. Find that high plank once more. And exhale down into your low plank. Right, hold it there for me. If you've come up into up dog already, I just want you to hold in that low plank. Just hover it out. Press the heels away and feel that nice, strong, long shape to the body. So looking towards the floor for 3, 2, 1. Good. Now come up to your up dog. Lift up through the chest. Exhale back to down dog. Perfect. All right. Let's rock and roll through some Spider-Man. So rolling forwards, finding your high plank. If you find that this is too much on the wrist, you can always come down onto the forearms. We're going to take the left leg into the air, so you're in three-legged plank, and we're going to draw the left knee all the way around to the left elbow, and then extend all the way back. And again, driving forwards. So working the waistline here. Keep that back knee lifted if you can, but you can bring it down as an alternative. Okay, so to the other side, lift up with the right leg. So 3 knee drives to the elbow, a little touch on the elbow if you can. Try not to sway around through the body and keep the hips down in line with the shoulders if possible. One more. Driving forwards. Awesome. Pop the right foot down, extend back into your down dog. So we're going to take more knee drives, but from dog this time. So generating quite a lot of heat and building up strength in the shoulders. So taking the left leg into the air, extending the toes towards the ceiling, pressing down through the right leg, and then when you're ready, inhale, draw the left knee towards the nose, take that squeeze, and then exhale to lengthen out. So think about a lovely long line all the way from that left toe to the fingertips, which I hope are pressing down hard into the mat at this point. Lifting up tall, one little squeeze forwards before we swap sides. Lovely. Let's go. Right leg lifts, inhale. Exhale. So it's nice and slow, control it, work with the breath. So taking what you need from the breath in the different poses. One more drive here, inhale. And then we're going to come into a transition. We're going to take some weight out of the shoulders before we bring it back into the shoulders again. All right, good stuff. Take a look to the hand. This time if you want to hop forwards, think about your popping forward into a handstand now. I'm not saying you do pop forward into a handstand, but see if you can get that sensation of pressing down through the hands and lifting the hips in order to float the feet forwards without bending the knees too much. So take that halfway lift and then refold into your nice stretchy semi-inversion as you hang upside down. So obviously semi-inversion, nice way to get the blood pumping to the upper extremities. One more breath, inhale. And exhale, lovely. All right, we're going to take a side plank flow now. So give the wrists a little bit of a whiz round, get them prepped. So you can take your side planks on your forearms if you prefer. All right, let's go. Plant the hands and bend the knees. Sorry, don't plant the hands, rise up tall. Forgot to say we were going to rise up. Lift up, extend. I'm so excited about getting side plank, you see. Exhale, a little back bend if you fancy. And then come on down. Get to the good bit, get to the tough stuff, that's what we like. Step back, hop back, float back, however you want. Taking the right hand down underneath the right shoulder, so you might want to move it into line a little bit. As I said, you can come onto the forearm if you prefer. We're going to open out into this extended position. You can always bring the right knee down, that's an option for you there as well. And we're going to take a squeeze, a thread the needle pose from here. So we're taking the left arm high, As you exhale, we're going to feed those left fingers underneath the right arm, and so you're looking at them behind the back. So we're really squeezing into the obliques here. Open out, stretch out the chest, lift up, feel like full expansion of breath, and then squeeze and feel that little pinch on the outside of the right side waist.
This is going to make me rock the budgie slug.
Chris said you can't hear him, he's saying this move's going to give him the muscles to rock his budgie smuggers. Alright, come back through centre, and then from there we're going to take the other side. Left hand plants, right arm lifts, inhale, get those hips nice and high. Looks like my hips are almost on the floor, my pants are that baggy. Squeezing underneath, looking behind you, to the right fingers if you can. Open out, 2 more, little squeeze. And release, well done, final time. Little squeeze. And open up, beautiful. Take your way back to plank. Okay, take a little squeeze and lift of the hips. And let's take a wow thing. Right foot lifts, inhale. Exhale, dropping the right foot behind you. So lifting up high through the upper body. Now you might decide that you want to take a little hip lower and lift here with me. So if you do, press up high with the hips as you exhale. Drop your left butt cheek down to the floor. And then squeeze up. Okay, so we're lowering down. And then we're squeezing up. So feel free to move the feet around till you make this comfortable. Lower down. And lift. Well done. Bring that right hand down underneath the right shoulder. So you're pivoting back through centre and back to dog. But we want to keep that right foot lifted if you can. So feel free to adjust that left foot. So you're back into three-legged dog with the right foot lifted. We're going to open out into a scorpion now. We're going to turn this into a little bit of a flow. So rocking that right heel towards the butt, opening out through that top hip. Not bringing all the weight into the left side of the body, but keeping it even between the arms. Don't lock out the arms here on this one. Keep the elbows a little bit soft. And take the gaze underneath your right armpit. You don't have to, you can always look back to your left toe. And from here we're going to take that little roll forwards. So inhale and drive forwards. Bring the knee towards the right elbow and then open back out into scorpion. So we're going to take another couple of those. So driving forwards, right knee, right elbow. And back. Last one. Drive. So make sure this squeeze through the abs is making your body work hard on that drive forwards. Okay, well done. Back to your dog. And straight into wild thing on the other side. Left foot lifts. Inhale. Exhale, flip it. So sometimes called flip dog, because that rolling over sensation. If you want to come down to kneeling, you don't have to take the hip drops either. So if you want to, lower down with the hip and squeeze and open. So control that descent down and then squeeze and lift. One more. Lowering down, squeeze and lift, flip back to your dog. Keep that left foot lifted, pop it into the air so you're in three-legged dog. Open out into scorpion, left heel to bum, opening that top left hip on top of the right. Inhale, exhale, left knee, left elbow. And back into your scorpion. We've got 2 more drives. Rolling forwards and back. Well done. We've got a couple of presses coming up. Squeeze, final time. And release. Well done. Take the left foot down. Find your dog. Readjust the hands and feet if you need to. And roll the weight forwards. Finding your high plank. Remember, knees can come down at this point if you like. Exhale to low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale to down dog. I'm just going to readjust those on microphones because they're slipping around. Okay, well done. From your dog, let's float forwards and see how we're feeling with some press-ups this morning. So readjust the hands as we did before, fingertips on that index finger facing forwards, dropping the hips down, and just roll backwards and forwards a little bit on the wrists. See how they feel, and then find that nice strong position. So elbows squeezed in, weight forwards, lower down, one press, narrow press, press back up. Take the hands wide, so just outside of the shoulders, working into the chest. Weight comes forwards, lower down, press back up. Good. Back into that narrow position. Inhale and exhale. Press back up. This time we're going to lower down and take a back bend. So coming all the way down onto your tummy. I'm just going to have to move these mics a little bit. So you're lowering all the way down and taking a little release there. Oh, phew, the shoulders say. So taking the arms out behind you, we're going to take a locust pose. So if you feel like bringing the heels to touch, if that's available to you, go for it. We're going to take a very little squeeze through the lower back and the glutes. But I want you to think more about it lengthening through the front body rather than it being a pinch in the lower back. So on your next breath in, start to lift up. Imagine the chest and the space that we're creating across the front of the chest. Now with the heels, if you want to, you can have a little click in and out. So a little tap together, really just fires up the glutes. Squeezing, holding there, well done. For another 5, you got this. And 4. Nice resting crocodile next. We used to be kind to you in the flex back in the earlier sessions. 2. And 1, well done. So crocodile, you can bring your hands into a pillow, or you can take your left ear down to the mat, so you're lying down, resting easy. I can't lie down too much just because of the mics, but I can talk you through it so you can relax. So breathing into the back body. As you lie in front, you have that extra space in the back body. So lifting the rib cage towards the spine, finding length. Really good for sciatica, bringing down blood pressure as well. Just give it another 3 breaths. Enjoy this time of stillness. Focus on that breath. Think about what we were saying at the beginning of the session. What do you need out of your practice today? Use that breath to find it. 1 more breath. Well done. Okay, right. I am a bit worried about these mics for this, but this is what we're going to do next. You can stay down. I'm just going to show you a bit easier if I come up to seated. So we're going to be lying on your arms, essentially. I want you to think about bringing the pinkies together. The palms are going to be face down on the mat. So you're going to be lying on your own arms. We're going to think about lifting up through the lower body. So if you've come up, come back down. We're going to nestle the hands down. Try and bring the pinkies together. I'm going to have to move these. Sorry, Chris. Just to there. There we go. All right. Taking the fingertips together, lying on the arms. This is prep for our peacock pose, our wild card today. So keeping the gaze down long, you can either start to squeeze and lift one leg and lower down, and then the other leg and lower down. You can have a go at bringing both up together. So the key is to find the arms into that little hip crease and then start to squeeze and lift from there. So working on the muscles which we're going to be using for our peacock later. Hold in there for 3, 2, 1. Well done. Find your crocodile on the other side. So bringing the right ear to the mat or taking the hands into a pillow. You can always bring the big toes to touch and the heels rocking out, or you can bring the heels to touch and turn the toes out. There's several options for your crocodile pose. Oh good, we've got some fun balances coming up for you next. Taking this little reset for another 3, 2, and 1. Good, well done. Bring the gaze back down in front of you. Plant the hands underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes. Don't think about, I want you to think about not being floppy plank here, okay? Nice strong plank. Tuck the elbows in, strong release all the way back into that high plank position. Inhale, and then exhale, come back down. Oh, this is fun, let's go again. Inhale, lift up, wasn't going to, but we are now. And then exhale, lower back down. Well done, final dog. Inhale, lift up through the chest. Exhale, rolling back into your downward facing dog. And again, stretching out the spine. Really nice neutralizing position after those back bends. Lifting up one heel, then the other. Dropping the head down. Thinking about length through the legs, length through the arms, length through the spine. And then taking the gaze towards the hands, bending the knees, and floating towards the thumbs. Trying to keep the legs nice and straight. So keep about lifting the hips up. Exhale, release whenever you're ready into your forward fold. And then making sure that the feet are under the hips. You can adjust here if you need to. We're going to bend up into our bend up, extend up even, reaching up tall into that nice little lift up. Bringing the hands together and exhaling down to the heart center. So our balance sequence today is it's got lots of birds in this practice. We're going to have a go at Bird of Paradise if you want to later on. But to start off with, we're going to work into the hamstrings, okay? So to get that Bird of Paradise, you need to have nice open hammies. So we're going to start off with a standing split. So take the weight into the right foot, spread out the big toe, little toe and the heel so you feel grounded, and start to lift the weight into that side of the body. From here, You can keep the arms down by the side of the body. You can float through a warrior 3 for this one. So start to seesaw from the hips, extending away through the crown of the head, keeping that lift of the left foot. And as you come down towards the ground, you can use a block if you can't feel like you're coming down all the way towards the floor today. Or you can take your hands down to the floor. Now try and bring them close to the right foot as you can. That's going to destabilise you, so you're not creating this tripod effect. And that's where the good stuff happens in terms of challenging the balance. So allowing your head to move down towards the earth whilst kicking up nice and high and extending as much as you can through that top lifted leg. So you're really engaging through both of your legs here. Allowing the head just to use as a counterbalance really into your standing split. So really stretching into this right hamstring. You're fully switched on in that left leg as well. Well done. Hold in there. Full breath in. And out. If you're feeling fancy this morning, you want to have a play around holding onto your right ankle, you can take both hands off the floor and just hold it around that right ankle, just balancing on that one point of contact now. Whenever you're ready to release, we're going to float your left foot back towards the back edge of your mat, leaving the heel lifted as we come into a twisted lunge. So taking hands to heart center, inhale. Exhale, come down, so you're bringing a 90-degree knee bend into that front right knee. Exhaling whenever you're ready, bringing the left elbow across outside of that right thigh. So you're wanting to try and stack the elbows and then lift up on the inhale and then find a bit more rotation on your exhale. So lifting, opening up. You can let the gaze travel over towards the right hand side, or you might want to start looking over your right shoulder. That can just allow you to take a bit more twist. So again, as before, I want you to think about moving the belly button around as opposed to just twisting through the shoulders. Pressing away through that back heel, or you can drop the back knee down, that's up to you. Taking a breath, we're coming into an extended side angle next. So on your next exhale, floating back through center. Now we're going to bring the back foot onto its long side, so pressing away down the outside edge, but still maintaining that 90 degrees of the front leg. You can bring the right forearm down to start off with as we stretch out and extend into our side angle. So great way of finding space in the side body and the shoulders. Working into the legs still as well. If you know that your practice can take you a bit deeper into this pose, you can take the right hand down and the left hand up to the ceiling. What we don't want is the bottom sticking out like this. So if you need to come higher in order to tuck the pelvis under, grab yourself a brick or small child or something and lift up from there. Okay, if you want to take this a little bit further into the bound version of this pose, it's not for everyone, but you can have a go if you like. Again, just don't compromise this form of sticking your bottom out. So drop the left hand behind the back, a bit like you've been arrested, and then floating the right arm behind the back of your right knee. So it's not between the legs, okay? Behind the right knee, taking the bind, so taking the fingers in each hand, like you're holding your own hand, and then trying to turn the gaze either up to the ceiling or out towards the left. So we're not compromising through the hips here. It's a strong stretch through the upper back and shoulders, as well as into the legs. Now, if you have this bind, you can have a go at this balance. So taking the gaze forwards, you're going to take one big step forwards if you can, but several is fine with the left foot. From here, get yourself together. Inhale, start to float up onto the left leg, she says. As soon as I thought about not balancing, that was it, I was off. Okay, we've got it. So standing up nice and tall on that left leg, think about height through the body, and this might be your bird of paradise, this is where you're at, that's fine. If you can, we're going to start to extend through that right leg. So we're lifting up nice and high, focusing strongly on this standing leg as you lift up nice and tall with the right leg. And then whenever you're ready, you can pop that right foot back down, keeping the bind if you can, and taking that step back into your side angle, and then releasing the hands, framing the front foot. Woo! Stepping back. Whoa, that's a good one. That really works deep into it. If you've not got the bound angle, you can, if you've not got the bind and you want to take a balance, you can always step to the front of the mat and take a leg extension if you prefer. All right, let's go on to the side. Standing splits it is. So look to the hands, hop your way forwards towards the thumbs. Inhale, long spine. So if you want to come into your standing splits from this halfway position, this is an alternative. You can take the hands down next to the left foot, sweep up behind you with the right leg, and then start to fold from there. So you don't have to come all the way up to standing. It's entirely up to you. So dropping the head down again, just finding that lift up of the back leg without opening the hip. So we don't want to head towards a standing half moon. We want to keep the hips facing down. Crown of the head reaching towards the floor, but really working, firing up this right glute to lift that leg as high as you can. For another 3. Twisted lunges next. You want to take the hands around your standing left ankle, you can do. 2. And 1, float your right foot to the back of your mat. Make sure your right foot's in line with your right hip, back heel is lifted. Take that inhale. And exhale when you're ready. Cross the body with the right elbow, stacking the elbows, left on top of right, squeezing in through the belly. Think about that belly button moving over towards the left-hand side of the space. You can drop down onto that back knee if you like. Think about that long spine here as well. So leg work, spine work. Those twists are fabulous for detoxification, working into the liver and kidneys and also into your digestion as well. Okay, let's find our extended side angle. Take the gaze back through center. Pivot on the back foot, right toes turned out. Left forearm on the left thigh and extend away through the right arm if that feels okay. You can also use the elbow a little bit here. If your knee does have a tendency to knock into the middle, you can press away a tiny bit. You don't want to put too much pressure on the knee. Okay, but it gives you that mutual press point. So stretching away with the right hand. As before, if you want to take this a little bit deeper, you can take the left hand down to the floor onto a block, right arm lifting up and maybe even over towards the front of your mat if you prefer. Or maybe the bind. Right hand comes down behind the back, right arm gets the scarf out of the way, sorry, left arm. That's it. So what you don't want to finish up with is your chest pointing down to the floor. That's more like a humble warrior. So you want to lift up, open up, gaze up, and float the heart towards the sky. Now, if you want to stay here, by all means do. If you want to work into a standing leg extension as you come forward, instead of bird of paradise, that's fine. We're going for bird of paradise. So bring the right foot to meet the left. Connect with the floor, spread out the toes. Inhale, lift up. Nice strong lift. Find height before you find extension through that leg. Okay, so I want to think about catching that balance and finding height through the torso first, and then starting to lift up and extend with the left leg. Nice work. Hold that. Perfect. For 3, 2, 1. Can we go all the way back down into that extended side angle first of all? If you don't want to release, just work your way into dog and I'll meet you there. Inhale. Exhale, gaze down. Floating the hands either side of the left foot, lifting the hips high, stretching out. Beautiful stuff. Well done, everyone. Gazing towards the toes, pedaling out through the legs, having a bit of a reset, coming into chair pose next. So let's walk the feet in this time, bringing the big toes towards the thumbs, taking as much knee bend as you need here, taking the feet underneath the hips. Inhale, sweep up high, squeeze into the belly on this one. You want to make sure that you're not overarching that lower back, so you're feeling strong through the core. This belt is really helping tighten up here, so maybe having a tight belt around your middle can assist there. So weight into the heels, not into the toes on this one. If you come down a little bit deeper without compromising the pose, that's where you're going to start building a lot of leg strength. So stretching away through the fingertips. Try not to jerk the head up or drop the chin to the chest. Keep the gaze moving sort of about a mat's length away from the front edge of your mat. Full breath in. And out. Lovely. For 3, 2, 1. Inhale, rise up. Take a big long step back with your right foot and turn the toes out to the right hand side of the mat. So coming into a warrior 2, floating the left knee over the left ankle and bringing the hands up to shoulder height. Now if your shoulders are feeling a little bit stiff, it might feel nice just to take a couple of circles. Imagine you're drawing some side plate type circles, maybe one way then the other way. Another option in this pose is to lift up through your front heel. It really tightens up the leg muscles, makes them work extra hard. Perfect. So imagine, we don't want any floppy arms in this position. We want to feel like electricity shooting out the fingertips. Full breath in. Like Emperor Palpatine, Chris says. 2. And 1. well done. Bring that front heel down and pivot on the back foot. So we're in a runner's lunge now. So taking a slight lean forward, so you've got that lovely diagonal shape, squeezing the palms together. You can even interlock the hands behind the back if you want that extra stretch out through the chest. So gaze down just beyond your big toe. Nice long line to the body. Keep pressing into that back heel. Working hard through this left front leg as well. So it's a good one for invigorating the heart, this pose. And also meant to facilitate easier breath, easier breathing. So working on the respiratory system. One breath in and out. Okay, here's a bit of fun for you. Take the right hand down inside the left foot. See if you can take the bind around the left toe. I'm going to fling it back. I say fling in the looser sense of the word. We're going to control our way back into a side plank. If that sounds ridiculous, just head into your version of a side plank. You don't have to take the bind on this one. Okay, so make sure the right hand's underneath the right shoulder. Kicking up nice and tall. Got a lovely pigeon coming up in a sec. One more breath here, inhale. And exhale, release, well done. Roll back to center. Lift up into your down dog, and let's take that pigeon now. So taking the left leg high into the air, looking forwards as you sweep the left knee behind the left wrist. So you're bringing, over time, you want the front shin to be parallel with the short front side of the mat, but to make it more accessible, just bring the heel back towards the center line of the body. Take a glance over your right shoulder and have a look at what your leg's doing. You want it in line with the hip. So this is really working into your hip flexors, your piriformis, your psoas muscles. So you want to think about length through the spine here. I always like to have a little flow, so releasing the forehead down to the ground, and then inhaling, squeezing back up. If you would prefer to come down into sleeping pigeon and stay in sleeping pigeon, that's fine. Stay there. Otherwise, I'm going to take another 2 breaths here. I always like to think of the spine taking a wave-like motion in this one. Perfect, well done. Inhale, rise up. Bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. Tuck the back toes and take a step back. Stretch out the legs again into your down dog and make your way towards the front of your mat. We're going to find chair pose once more. Bend the knees, lift the hips and float forwards. Nice and soft landing if you can. Inhale. Exhale, head becomes heavy, floppy forward fold just for a breath. And before we inhale, rise up into our lovely zigzag position again. So finding chair pose, weight into the heels, trying to send the sit bones back so that the knees are not coming too far forward. You want to make sure you can see your knees in chair pose. Shoulders moving down the back, inhale. Exhale, not going to stay here too long. We're going to lift out on the next breath. Inhale, lift, stepping back with the left foot. So with your warrior 2, you want to make sure the heel is lined up with the arch on the back foot, and we want to drop this knee into this 90-degree position so it's in line with the right hip. Arms can float up again. So again, if you want to move into the arms a bit more, you can move around in circles. You can lift up through that front heel if you like. So keep moving the hips down, 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 down. Try not to move forwards. It's always tempting like we would do in triangle, but try to keep the torso nice and tall here. Lovely job, well done. Hold it there. Tuck that butt under for 3. You're thinking Senator Palpatine here with the electricity out your fingers. Good. 2. And 1. Runner's lunge. Sweeping forwards, catching the balance. So lifting arms high. Exhale, sweep the arms behind you. Come down deep into that diagonal strong pose. Full breath in. And out. Squeeze the shoulder blades together a bit more. Bring the palms a bit closer together. Or maybe even take that bind as you did on the other side, interlocking the hands. Squeezing in the belly, finding length here. 1 more breath. Shall we have a go at that bound side plank? Inhale. Exhale. Left hand comes down. Peace sign fingers around the big toes. Rolling towards the right. Don't rush it. And kicking up. So if you feel like your bum's coming down towards the floor, squeeze and lift, get a bit higher. Hold, hold, hold for 3, 2, 1. Release the right foot down, come back through center, find that plank, and then lift up into down dog. Coming into a pigeon pose on the right side. Right foot lifts, inhale. Exhale, bring the right knee behind the right wrist. Take a breath, inhale. Exhale, slide that back foot back a little bit. Let the hips nestle down towards the floor. Option as before to take that wave-like motion through the spine, or just relax into your sleeping pigeon. You choose. Inhale. Exhale, release. Inhale to lift. Exhale, release. One more, inhale to lift. Exhale, release. Well done. Inhale to come up. And just allow yourself to roll onto that right butt cheek as you sweep your left leg all the way around. Just going to come into an easy seated position. And if you wanted to sit on a block or a cushion at this point, if you find that this position doesn't feel too comfortable, then feel free to do so. Making sure the sit bones feel grounded on whatever it is that you sat on. Just going to enjoy a forward fold from here. I like to stretch up here with the arms to find length and think about that movement forwards through the spine rather than just bringing the head towards the floor. So finding that length, extending away through the arms. Make sure you don't lift up the bottom off the floor here, so plant the sit bones down. So you've got those two opposing forces here. You want the sit bones to be moving down towards the earth as we move through the crown of the head towards the front. Now if you're down quite low, you can always use your hands to make little potatoes to rest your forehead on, or if you've got a brick to hand, or if you're happy just tucking the chin to the chest and lengthening out there. So just breathing a bit of space into the back body. Well done. You can always make this a bit juicier by pressing into the fingertips and sliding the shoulder blades down the back. I'm going to take another breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Well done. Inhale, rise up. Let's have a little play with boat pose. So you can take a bound boat here if you wish. We're going to take the peace sign fingers around the big toe. You can take the bind on the outside of the foot, just taking the hand on the outside edge if that's your preference. Either way, or indeed as well, you can take the hands around the back of the thighs. Whatever you're doing, you want to think about lifting up tall through the torso and finding that balance on the sit bones rather than trying to balance by hunching through the shoulders. So wherever you're at, it doesn't matter if your heels leave the floor or not. This could be your boat pose. Okay, if you can, so you can get the heels off, that just adds more challenge. So nice tall spine, and then start to progress the legs into straighter positions, but there's no rush. It will happen at some point. So taking your bound boat, if you want to make it more challenging, and I know there's a lot of you out there that do, you can release the arms up to the ceiling as well. So taking 3 breaths here, relax the shoulders down the back. Sit up tall, puff up the chest for 3, 2, and 1. Well done. Releasing down onto the back. We're just going to take a little bridge pose. So taking the heels towards the butt, taking an inhale and floating up and down through the spine, just in case it's feeling a bit tight. So floating the hips high, stretching out through the quads, and then slowly releasing 1 vertebra at a time if you can, whilst maintaining that little bit of tension through the abs. Just going to take another 2 of those. Inhale, floating up tall. Exhale, release. Well done. All right, perfect. Let the lower back come to ground here. And then we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. And we're going to take a bound angle sit-up. So taking the arms out above the head maybe, we're going to point the fingers, we're going to bring the fingers to point between the legs, that's where we're aiming for. So we want to allow the shoulders to lift, try not to bring the chin to the chest too much, see if you can keep the gaze lifting up. Okay, so we're going to pulse between with the fingers, 1, 2, 3, Chris has got his blunderbuss here. It looks very wrong for where I am. And release back. We're going to take another set of 5 pulses. Inhale. Exhale, reach. Get those shoulders off the mat, nice and high. 5, 4, 3, 2. Amazing job, well done. Sorry, and 1. All right, guys, let's have a quick play around with our wildcard today. So we are practicing playing with a peacock pose. Now, it's a strong one on the wrist. You can try and shuffle against it, so you could put your feet against the wall. If you've got a block like or a bricks, you could pop your feet onto bricks. We've not got a huge amount of time, so I'm just going to quickly show you. I'm going to just move this. I'm throwing off the sash, And I'm also going to throw off the mics and put them right in front of me, because otherwise we're going to, I'll turn up the gob instead.
That's alright, you get the gob.
So as before, when we were doing that prep earlier on in the session, we had our pinkies together and we were coming through centre. This is what you're aiming for. Now, I've got no boobs, so it's a lot easier for me. Those ladies with bigger boobs, it's a bit more challenging. Ideally, you want to take the fingers back towards the knees. You can get away with turning the hands out, and obviously people's elbows might feel differently on this one. So from here, what we're aiming to do is to bend at the elbows, making a shelf with the upper arm. Okay, so as you come forwards, you can take that little rest there, and that might be plenty for you today. You're still building strength through the torso here. If you can, I want you to bring the knees off the ground. So we're tucking the toes and we're extending from there. So you're in this strange plank-like position. So just as if you would if you were taking a balance like with your crow, we're going to extend forward with the crown of the head for this one. So it is strong on the wrist. As I was saying, if you want to tap your toes against the wall or you want to pop them onto a block, that is a good way of working towards this. If this feels in any way, shape or form not good for your wrist, then just watch for this round. Okay, so we're taking the weight forwards, we're spreading out the hands, we're going to float one foot off the floor, and then we're going to float the other foot off the floor, and then because it's peacock, we try and lift up there through the legs, find that fan out position with our peacock tail. Okay, so have a little play around with that. It's why we've been doing such a large amount of back body work at the beginning of the session and wrist work. That's it. Nice.
Polyester on polyester doesn't work.
No. So the idea, eventually, once you get those feet floating off the floor, is that you can fan out the tail. So it becomes more of a back bend, as well as an arm balance. Okay? So really squeezing the elbows in, floating the weight forwards. And someone said to me yesterday, how do you find that point? Well, it might be that you move backwards and forwards a little bit on the hands, and just see if you can feel your way. Anatomically we're all very different, so if you just have a little move around. Nice work, Pirate Chris. That's it. So extending through the crown of the head and extending up through the big toes. But it is tough on the wrist, so feel free to come out and give the wrists a bit of a stretch out. Maybe just taking a little float round. So sometimes, hey, he's going again. So yeah, feel free to come down into Shavasana a little bit early if you wish. Taking a bit of a rest pose. Chris and I are going to knock out a couple of peacocks, because we're a couple of peacocks. All right, taking a little float forwards. So as with all balances, try not to rush them, is what I'm saying, as we lift. Oh, and then come back down. So whenever you are ready, come and find your Shavasana. If the wrists are feeling a bit squeaky, you can spend a bit of time on your back here, just flexing and extending the wrists, just giving them a little move around. You can take recline butterfly, or you can extend out through the legs. Anything which feels comfortable for you. You can always take a cushion underneath the hips or underneath the back of the head. And you can stay here for as long as you jolly well like. All day if you wish. So just concentrating on that breath once more. Just that breath that's with us all day, every day, whether it's with our yoga practice or just whatever it is that we're doing. You can use it for all sorts, for strengthening, for calming. So whatever you need, just let that breath serve you. Taking another 3 deep inhales and exhales. Letting all of those hard-working muscles relax. I'm going to start coming round a little bit just because I need to, for the timing purposes, but as I said, if you want to stay here for a bit longer, that's fine. You can start wiggling into the ankles, the feet, the fingers, the toes. Maybe drawing the knees one at a time into the chest, pressing down with the low back onto the floor, having a little wiggle around. And then slowly, whenever you're ready, you can roll onto your side, or you can rock and roll up to seated, stacking the vertebrae, sitting up nice and tall and taking a big breath in. And bringing the hands together as we exhale, down to your beautiful heart. Well done, everyone. Thanks so much. Namaste. Have a wonderful weekend. Well done, peeps.
Namas no longer need to stay at home.
Namas. What are you trying to... Namaste out for a bit longer than we were allowed to? I don't know.
Well done, everybody.
Top work, top work. Super job. Thanks, guys.